This photograph captures one bird wearing two sets of colors. In 2022, a birdwatcher in Colombia photographed a green honeycreeper with a blue right side and a green left side. Those colors matter. Adult males are blue-green with a black head. Females are grass-green. This bird wore male-type plumage on one half and female-type plumage on the other. Researchers watched it return for at least 21 months. The condition is called bilateral gynandromorphy. One leading explanation begins with an error during egg formation, followed by two sperm fertilizing separate nuclei. That can produce female ZW cells on one side and male ZZ cells on the other. The result looks like a seam running straight down a living bird. And feathers are only the surface. Look inside a bird, and the next surprise reaches through its chest, spine, and wings. Bird lungs stay relatively rigid. A set of flexible air sacs moves air through them, keeping oxygen-rich air flowing across the gas exchange surfaces. In many species, small branches from that respiratory system extend into parts of the skeleton. They replace marrow and tissue with air-filled chambers. Here is what that looks like in a real micro-CT scan. The dark spaces inside these vertebrae connect to respiratory diverticula. Depending on the species, pneumatic spaces can also enter the ribs, pelvis, sternum, or the large humerus bone in the wing. Penguins, kiwis, loons, and other diving birds have far less of this system. The tiny openings on a pneumatic bone have a name: foramina. They are doorways for air sac tissue. Gas exchange still happens in the lungs. The bones join the plumbing. That design sounds like a shortcut for making a lighter skeleton. The full story is stranger. When researchers compare animals of the same body mass, a bird's entire skeleton can weigh about as much as a mammal's. Pneumatic bones make space efficiently, but flight depends on the shape and construction of the whole animal. Now follow that airflow upward, toward the voice. Humans make sound in the larynx, near the top of the throat. A bird's main sound box sits much lower, where the trachea splits into two bronchi. It is called the syrinx. Anatomists were drawing its strange shapes in the 19th century. Modern experiments revealed the clever part. In songbirds, the left and right sides can act as separate sound sources. One side can stop while the other sings. They can trade control inside a single syllable. They can also run together and produce two unrelated frequencies at once. In many species studied, the left side handles lower notes, and the right reaches higher ones. A songbird is carrying a tiny duet inside its chest. That makes one famous bird sound especially funny. Picture a bald eagle landing in a movie. The soundtrack usually gives it a huge, tearing scream. Sound editors often borrow that voice from a red-tailed hawk. That high, chattering call belongs to the bald eagle. The red-tailed hawk supplies the cinematic scream. One bird became America's visual symbol. Another bird became its voice. Birds also turn human structures into animal spectacles. At dusk during fall migration, chimney swifts gather over old schools, churches, factories, and houses. First, dozens circle the roof. Then hundreds arrive. At large roosts, the flock can climb into the thousands. The spinning cloud tightens over one open chimney. Bird after bird folds its wings and drops through the top until the sky empties.
Inside, they do something most songbirds cannot. Chimney swifts cling upright to rough brick. Stiff spines at the ends of their tail feathers help brace them against the wall. Their feet are built for clinging, so a normal horizontal perch does not work. A nesting pair presses a tiny half saucer of twigs onto the brick with saliva. During migration, the same kind of vertical chamber can shelter an enormous communal roost. One bird can split its colors down the middle. Another sends air into its skeleton. A songbird controls two voices. A flock turns a chimney into a cave. Birds seem familiar because they live beside us. Look closely, and familiarity disappears. For more strange science stories, subscribe.